There it
Boom,
is.
there
Right
it is.
All right, ladies and gents, we got a fun one for y'all today. We are continuing this whole thing talking about how to start an insurance agency, because what we're really talking to, the people that we're really talking to, is people that want to add insurance to their existing business, that have a business already. And, what do you need to know about starting an insurance agency? Well, we are going to tell you today.
The Insurance Bro Show is a podcast for agents who want to grow their agency and be titans of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the Insurance Bro, James Cias.
Boom. All right, all you insurance pros out there, let's dive into another fun episode. But before we do, a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're catching us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, and drop a review, and help other like-minded insurance agents find value from our guests and our content as we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it. And if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on and to learn from you. Go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest and schedule your time slot. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media at Insurance Bro Show. So, fun one today. Of course, like I said, we're talking to people who want to start an insurance agency. We want to talk to people who, maybe they're brand new. Maybe you're thinking about it. You're considering it. Maybe you have been doing things your own way for a while. And, maybe you can look back and say, maybe I missed on some of these steps. Maybe I can go back and start over, whatever. Fix it. But these are the folks that we're talking to, is people that want to start an insurance agency. And more than anything, we want to talk to people that want to start a business, right? Because you can be an insurance agent in one of two ways. You can be a fully producing, you are the person to talk to. You are a solopreneur. This is your agency. You're the head honcho, and there's, nobody else that can do it right but you. Or you can build a business and have, employees that do a lot of the work for you, and have the ability to get away for a little while if you wanted to. So that's the difference. But let's dive in, unless you got something else that you wanted to talk about.
No, not yet. I'm sure we're going to, as we work through these things. We're going to be, you know what? Might as well throw this one out there. A Yui. So we talked about that this weekend. That little guy up at the top and wearing a blue shirt, the little guy over there wearing a yellow shirt. Those are our
right
Yui.
Here.
Yeah,
this is a Yui.
That's
my Yui.
That's my Yui right there.
Yep.
So if you're interested in getting a Yui, and we'll find out more about what Yuis are, who they represent, and all that sort of stuff, let us know.
But it's a Yui.
It's a Yui. It's a Yui.
That's my Yui.
And that's my Yui. But you can have your Yui. So that's what we're looking for. That's one of the things that we talked about this weekend. All right, let's jump into this, because I was just excited. I always like talking about the
That's
Yuis.
cool. You know what? Let's do this. Watch, check this out. I'm gonna take this thing right here. What's going on? Well, take care of it, please. Outside or something? I don't know. I'm in the middle of something here.
We're live. All right, well, let's just jump into it. I'll keep going so you can handle that stuff.
Oh, so no, it's cool. It's cool. This is what I wanted to do, though. Check this out. What I wanted to do was pop this little banner on here. If you want a Yui, drop Yui in the comments.
Oh, okay. I see. Put a little banner for the Yui. Boom! A Yui in the comments.
So, and if you have any questions, we're just going to keep that pointing right there. Okay. That's the Yui. That Yui. Guy right there.
Right there. Or he's over right there.
Yeah, there you go. A couple of Yuis right there. So This will be fun.
12 things you should know before starting your own insurance agency. The capital needed to start. This is not capital letter. This is capital as in dollars. This is money that you're going to need to get your thing off the ground. A couple different things to know when you're getting an agency started. You're going to need a management system. How you collect your client information, where that information stored. that's going to be a vital part of what you're doing. And there's different types of management systems that you can utilize. Some of them are embedded with rating software. Some of them are not. But that is a hefty cost in and of itself. Just that. Your E&O insurance is another must. If you're going to end up doing any branding or logo design, all that stuff is a must. What else you got when you're starting up your insurance agency?
I don't know, overhead for any employees or lease or anything like that if you're going to have an office, but we're going to talk about that actually later on. That's one of the points. But yeah, you said the agency management system, the rating software, the CRM, if you're going to do anything like that. Your phone system, are you just going to use your cell phone, or are you actually going to have like some kind of a system set up, some kind of a forwarding? You probably want something like a digital fax in there. I know, believe it or not, people still use fax. It's all digital fax, but people still use it. Trying to think what else. What other?
I mean, those
software?
are a ton of detailed little things that add up. And here's the point. You're going to need money to get started in this thing. You're going to need some sort of investment capital. On the plus side, a lot of the investment capital that you put into your business, at least the first $5,000, including the legal fees, if you're going to incorporate, if you're going to, whatever entity you're going to decide to use, you're going to need a lawyer to help you set that stuff up, or LegalZoom, whatever it's going to be. A lot of those fees are deductible. So that's the plus side of it. The downside of it, deductible doesn't mean free. You actually have to spend the money to get that stuff done. Now you can get your state license. You take your licensing course, you go ahead and pay the state their fees to get off and roll in. And then you can go ahead and work for somebody and get going working for somebody else. But in starting your own agency, you're going to need to register with the Department of Insurance. You're going to need to do some of these other things that we're going to have on the list. And it is going to take some startup capital for you to get started. So, on the bare minimum, I would say it's going to cost you at least $1,000 to start. Bare minimum. And that's just licensing and coursework to get yourself off the ground. After that, depending on how big of an agency you're going to run, are you going to be running or walking when you first get started? Now you're looking at least, 5, 6, 7, up to $10,000. Mike Russ Financial Training Center offers a course called How to Use Your License. Right, a little plug for them. They're right there. A little plug for them, Mike Russ Financial Training Center, and how to use your license. And they go through in detail a lot of what you need to get started and the cost associated with that. This is why oftentimes agents that get started end up going and moving into things like clusters or working directly for other brokers that are established because of that initial startup cost. It just gets really expensive to get those things done.
Yeah, the thing that I was going to talk about when we talked about the capital needed to start is one thing that people don't necessarily think about is, how are you going to live? Right? There's capital that you need to start your business, all these different things that we're talking about, but how are you going to get by? Do you have enough in your savings to, I don't know, have a year's worth of income for the time that it takes to get this thing off and rolling? Or are you living right now paycheck to paycheck, right? Are you going to get a loan for something like that? Because your living expenses, your just general everyday living expenses, that's part of your capital. So the thing that I was going to mention about it is, when I started, I was lucky in that, first of all, I was living with you rent-free, whoop, whoop. And secondly, I had just gotten out of the Navy, so I was going to school and I had the GI Bill that was funding my monthly expenses. So there wasn't a lot of capital that we needed when we got started. When I got started, at least not initially, not until we actually went out and bought a book of business. And that's going to be something else that we'll talk about here. Let's keep it going, but let's talk about this stuff, I think, from our own experience as well.
Sounds good. All right. Number 2, getting access to insurance carriers to sell products. Look, if you're getting started right off the bat, you're probably not going to get access to a lot of the carriers that you want to sell insurance with. This is again the best carriers. This is again why you end up joining places. This is why you end up working for a State Farm or a Geico, or you work for an Aflac, or you go and work for an independent agency that already exists and has some of these appointments. Because it's so hard to get an appointment when you're first getting started, it's difficult to get that off and rolling. One of the benefits to joining Pipeline Team San Diego, I mean, we get appointments like crazy all the time. We just got appointed with they were just on the
Foresight?
show right now, Foresight. So we
Yep.
just got appointed with Foresight. So you may not be using the appetite or selling the products that Foresight has, but as an agency, we have a lot of appointments to give you the opportunity to really niche down in your industry and find out where you want to go.
So I've never actually personally had to go through the process of getting an appointment. So I don't want to speak too much on it. Like if I know, a ton of what I'm talking about, what I do know is that carriers have expectations. They have either production expectations, application expectations, or straight up premium expectations. And you, as the agent, you're supposed to meet those expectations. They want to see, sometimes it's 5 applications a month, sometimes it's $50,000 a year in written premium. So discovering what those things are, as a small independent agency, you may not have the ability to sell as much as they want you to sell. So that's why, to your point, you're talking about joining up with other agencies like ours. As a team, we have that ability to produce more, to provide more of those applications, write more of that premium, so that it's not all just on you. When it comes to you getting access to insurance carriers, a lot of the non-standard ones are fairly easy to get, as long as you have an office and personnel and whatever their minimum requirements are. You can probably get those appointments. You start to learn with those and grow your book of business, and then you can start getting some of those bigger, better appointments. But yeah, absolutely. It's actually going to be one of the points that we talk about, whether or not to join the cluster. Yeah,
Let's move
so
on.
that's all I got to say about that.
All right, number 3, leasing or buying office space. So this one's changed because of the COVID situation. There are a lot more people who are going mobile because we don't have to meet in person for a lot of things anymore. We can Zoom a meeting. We can get documents squared away with the click of a button, especially with newer phones that we have. So having a lease or buying office space is not necessarily a must-have. However, I do know that there are a lot of you who want to get away, right? Just like the Snickers commercial, right? What is that? Southwest, whatever, want to get away, right? A lot of you have life at home happening on a daily basis. You just can't operate your business from there. You would have too many interruptions. So you're looking for a place to go get an office space.
Did that just happen 5 minutes ago?
That just happened 5 minutes ago, right? So there is an upside to moving out to a place. You can go to one of the WeWork buildings, for example, the different office spaces that just rent individual offices or co-work spaces. You can do a lot of stuff like that. So you have a meeting ground. If you do get an appointment on your own, especially some of these non-standard ones, like James was saying, they're going to require that you have a commercial spot.
That's what I was going to say.
Right? They're going to require that you have a commercial spot for you to get that appointment. So it might be a condition for you to have an office space, even if it's a small little desk space, for you to be able to grab those appointments early on. Whereas if you add in with an agency like ours, we already have that commercial office space set up so that we can grab these appointments. We make sure we take care of that. But you, as the agent, don't necessarily need to go into the office. You can run your entire program mobile.
Yeah, that's exactly the point that I was going to make, is that some carriers do require that you have an office space in order to get the appointment. So, it's definitely something to look into and learn about. Otherwise, you're going to wind up joining another agency, another brokerage that has the appointment already. Moving on, number 4. Whether to buy an existing book of business or start from scratch. Now, here's a fun one. Here's a tough one. It depends on you and your resources and how you want to get going. So one of our former business partners, Mr. Armando Alejos, he was a guy who started his agency from scratch. He did, I want to say it was either State Farm or Farmers. I can't remember which one, but he started with one of those 2 companies, and with no experience, with no book of business, with nothing to his name, he became one of the top producers in California with whichever one of those companies it was. And he had a strategy. His strategy, he didn't go after the personal lines as much. He found his niche in commercial lines. So he found the things that State Farm and Farmers, whichever one of those it was good at. And he found all of the businesses in his area that fit that model, that fit that niche. And he went after them day after day, dollar for dollar, and he kicked butt. I mean, he went out there and he absolutely rocked it. So someone like that, someone with that kind of drive, someone with that kind of ingenuity is a really great person that would start from scratch. He was very successful in doing that. And then when he moved over to Pipeline, he, basically brought his book of business with him after the 1 year no compete or whatever it was. But he had developed such a great relationship with his customers that after that year, he was able to move them over without any problem. So starting from scratch can absolutely be very beneficial, but it takes a ton of work. It's finding your niche, it's calling, it's doing those 5 things, right? It's lead generating, follow up, negotiate, present, and close. You got to do those 5 things every single day. I got it.
Round
You
of
got to
applause
do
for that
those
one. Round of
things.
applause.
There you go. Every single day. Now, when it comes to buying a book of business, this is what Hernan and I did. We got lucky. We found an agent who wanted out of the insurance industry, and we bought that book of business for pennies on the dollar, basically, and he gave us a really nice boost to our cash flow. And for me, it was that learning curve just hockey sticked. I mean, it just went straight up from there. And buying an existing book of business, there's a lot of things to think about. One is you're going to have attrition. You're going to have people that are going to fall off because they've known this insurance agent for however long, right? They've been working with this insurance agent for a year, 5 years, 10 years, however long they've been there. All of a sudden you come in and you're the new agent. They don't know you. They don't have any idea what you are. You just they don't have the relationship. So there is attrition that comes with buying an existing book of business. But with good procedures and processes in place, you can save a lot of that.
All right, next one, because this is a big one as well. Should I join a cluster or do I stay solo? I guess we should define what a cluster is before we kind of move with the solo. Solo is pretty self-explanatory. A cluster is basically, if you go ahead, you want to describe what a cluster is?
Yeah, well, so there's a lot of different terminologies. There's a lot of different terms in the insurance space here. There's clusters, there's aggregators, there's wholesalers, there's MGAs and GAs, general agencies, managing general agencies. There's a ton. There's all kinds of different things, but essentially a cluster is agents that all get together and they're all writing business through one company, which
so here's how it works, right?
Whenever
you get an appointment with a company, they're gonna have you. They're gonna expect a certain amount of premium that you write in order for you to maintain that appointment. Sometimes that you're not going to be able to do it on your own. So if you get agents to come together and write that premium, then you're able to maintain that appointment as well as maintain higher levels of commission rates, assuming that the business that you're writing is good business. So a cluster is a bunch of solo agents or a bunch of small agencies that are grouped together as one major agency to acquire these appointments and to maintain. Now, there's always somebody in charge of that cluster, and that person or that company or whatever is managing whatever's going on, whether you're meeting ratios or not, whether you hit numbers for bonus or not, those sorts of things. Whereas if you go solo, you're doing everything that a cluster does, but you're doing it on your own. You're getting your appointment, you're meeting the premium count, you're getting your loss ratios. As you move up in the amount of premium that you write, as your loss ratios go down, you're eligible for bonus. So it's just grouping together a bunch of solos, essentially, quote unquote solos, because they could be just smaller agencies with multiple agents. But grouping them together into one source. So you get to choose. Do I join something over here? Now on the downside of joining a cluster, they're probably going to have a startup fee to get started. They're also going to take right off the top of your commission a portion of it because it's just part of coming into this group. They're also going to take parts of your bonuses if you're eligible for bonus, because your product your production is only part of the overall
they're in it to make money too.
Because they're in it to make money. It's a profit thing, right? So, should I join a cluster? Should I go solo? I think if you're getting started and you're hurting with the appointment process, then definitely look into joining a team, joining a cluster, joining somebody that already has those appointments. And if you're not, if you're ready to take on the world and you have that existing book and business, then by all means, go at it on the solo route.
I would say it depends on the types of customers that you're going to get. If you're going to stick with the non-standard, you can probably get a lot of those appointments yourself. But if you're going to go after preferred, you would probably want to join a cluster if you're just getting started and you don't have a track record already. Moving on, number 6. When will my insurance agency start to see a profit? The thing that matters most, right? This is what we care about the most. And you know what? It depends.
So here's the deal with commissions in general. First of all, you write a commission today, right?
Write a policy.
Write a policy today, right? You write a policy today. Well, it's going to take at least 30 days for that carrier to process that policy. Let's say it was bound today, right? Because you can quote stuff all day long. But let's say it's bound today. It's going to take 30 days for it to get through their cycle. And then let's assume you actually made their cutoff cycle for that particular month. So chances are you might get paid on the next month. Now, if you're using a cluster or some sort of aggregator, well, then that cluster is going to get paid that month. They got to process the entire payroll system to issue your commissions out. So that might add another 30 days. And if you happen to miss any one of these deadlines for your cluster, for your particular carrier that you write, it could be up to 90 to 120 days, depending on how you're structured for a policy you write today for you to get paid. That's a long time to wait. And so, when you start building your agency, that's just one policy, right? So as you start building your agency, this is why we talked about having those reserves at the beginning, because the truth of the matter is when you start generating revenue, you might collect broker fees and those sorts of things to kind of help you get by. But to build a business that has that residual aspect, which insurance is awesome for, you need it's a cycle. So you're gonna have to at least be 3 months out. We tell people about 90 days out before you start seeing the revenue that you generated from that first transaction from that first month. And it depends on how productive you are. If you're writing big policies right away, then you're going to start seeing larger commissions and it'll start growing. But chances are when you're first getting started, you're not hitting the ground running with a ton of clients ready to rock and roll. So you're building this out over time. Yeah, go ahead and make
I want to share this really quickly. This is a fun little thing that we come up with, right? How quickly can you see premium? Let's say in your first year, you write 15 policies per month. The average premium on each of those policies, and this is personal lines, obviously, is $1,000. Your average commission is 13%. And let's say as a solopreneur, you're going to get 100% of that. Okay, so I'm going to change that all the way through to 100%. Boom. So you're looking at $130 per policy. If you're selling 15 policies per month, right? Which gives you a commission in your first year, $23,000. And if you just keep that pace, let's say 15 per month the first year, 20 per month the second year, 30 in the next couple, or 30 the rest of the time, whatever. So you can see by the end of 5 years, you can make almost $200,000 per year.
And that's assuming you're writing that kind of premium on a monthly basis consistently and your retention stays at 100%.
Yep.
Right.
And so this is somebody that we listed as a home only agent. So this is somebody like a lender who has all kinds of loans coming through their office all the time. And all they want to do is write the home policies, nothing else. So if you're getting 50 loans a month into your lending office, can you write 15 policies per month? Maybe, potentially, right? And this is what it would look like for you.
And this is the beauty of homeowners, though. They don't rewrite very often. So that's consistent all the way down the board. Hey, I don't think we're going to finish all 12, by the way.
I don't think we are either. It looks like we're at 24 minutes and we're at what, number 6?
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But this one right here, I like this one a lot because if that's a serious question, when will I see profit? It depends on you. It depends on what kind of work you put into it. You know what? If you do, this is the one that we always talk to our agents about. Let's do auto, home, and umbrella bundles. Every single time you should be getting at least...
Make that a little bit bigger, yeah?
Yeah. Every single time you should be trying to get 3 policies with every single customer, right? An auto, home, umbrella bundle. So in this case, if our average bundle is $3,500, and again, I'm going to give you the solopreneur rate here. We're going to make it 100% across the board, right? And if you do 1 bundle per week in your first year, 1 bundle per week, That's 4 bundles per month. That gives you about 22, almost 22,000 in your first year. 54, 98, 163. And this is, you go from 1 bundle per week to 6 per month, 8 per month, 12 per month, right? Or 3 per week. It doesn't really seem like a lot, right?
No, it doesn't. And the thing about it is your process, right? It always comes down to the system. What system do you have in place? What are you implementing to get started in your first agency? Are you focusing your attention on those 5 things? Are you lead generating, lead follow-up? Are you presenting, negotiating, and closing? Those are the only things that you need to focus on a regular basis. If you focus your attention on those things, niching down in your niche and focusing on getting those bundles, who are you talking to on a regular basis? That's totally doable for a lot of people. These are not outrageous ones. I know 12 a month sounds outrageous when you're first getting started, but 4 a month, that should definitely be doable. And remember, the thing about this is the consistency of keeping that retention rate high. So you having that process not only on the front end for customer acquisition, but having the process to maintain those customers going forward, to be able to service them, to be able to maintain them,
right,
to be able to keep them on the books.
Look at this right here. This line right here says if you're doing these bundles, right, by the end of year 5, you got 500 customers. If you got 500 customers, you're probably doing quite a bit of servicing, and you're going to need some help. So maybe, this is your top line revenue, but you're going to need some help. So maybe you're giving some of that away in payroll, which is fine because you're still going to be making, whatever amount it is. But having those systems, those processes, those SOPs in place when you have those employees, that's what's going to make you profitable. That's what's going to keep you having some free time because if you're doing all of this on your own, you're going to be working 80 hours a week. I promise you. You are not going to sleep. You are not going to have time to be with your family. You're not going to have time to do, a bunch of stuff. Like, you need help when you've got 500 customers and you're making $200,000+ per year. Like, you need somebody there to help you out, and you need processes, you need SOPs, you need, the simple steps of what comes next, automations in your CRM so that you don't lose, your renewals. Like, we're talking about, this really high retention. This past month, we recorded 98% retention rate in our agency through the systems, through the processes, through the CRM automations that we've put in place. We had a 98% renewal retention rate last month. And that's a huge jump. That's almost double our jump from July. Back in July, we were at 51%. So in 3 months, with the processes and CRM automations that we put into place and the team members that we have, who are incredible, by the way, we went from 51% to 98%. And that's what you want in your agency to continue this growth, because if you just keep this thing going, it just grows year over year over year.
That's the power. That's the power of having the team behind you. So look, those are the numbers. You know what that's like. That's you as a solopreneur. That's you doing all the work. And yes, the numbers at the bottom, those look pretty good, right? I mean, year 1, probably not so much. Year 2, you're feeling a little bit better. Year 3, you're doing well. And after that, you're continuing to rock and roll. Now, if you want to be that hardworking solopreneur, by all means, go out and do that. But if you want a team behind you so that you can earn that kind of revenue, but have a team behind you so that you can take a break from these sorts of things, so you can go on vacation for a month, so that cash flow can continue to go on, and you know that a team is there behind you, making sure that certifications are going out, that renewal notices are going out, that your clients are being taken care of, that is why we want you guys to join Pipeline Team San Diego. So if you're interested in joining our team, our website scrolling at the bottom, pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities. Find out more about how this can be your reality, not only in the production that you're doing, but in the support on the back end. And by the way,
and we'll make you a Yui.
And we'll make you a Yui. That's just part of what happens when you're part of our team. And by the way, the Yuis are not just the little cool little characters that you get. There's also an entire marketing plan going behind it so that you have content for your social media on a regular basis as often as you want to post it. So that's just part of the perks of being part of the Pipeline Team San Diego. So hopefully you guys check this out. That's pretty much it for today. We only got through 7 points, so we're gonna continue on the other points next time we don't have a guest. But that's tomorrow. A good start, man. Which is probably tomorrow, yeah. So 12 things you should know when starting your own agency. I mean, the numbers don't lie. That's just a scenario, an example. We can kind of work things up based on if you have an existing book of business that you want to roll over, or maybe you are one of those agents that's starting over right now. That you've left a new agency, you're getting started, you only have certain appointments, but you have leads that you need to write business with. You have some commercial stuff you want to write business with. You just don't know where to go with it. We'd love to talk to you about doing that too. We have a great referral program. We'll handle all the back end support for you. Write that business, get it bound, and make sure that you get paid on a residual basis. As long as you have an insurance license, we're here to work with you. All right, ladies and gents.
12 points to be continued tomorrow. Thank you all so much for joining in today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for the rest of our 12 points. And in the meantime, don't forget, please, to subscribe, rate, and review so we can rise up in those podcast rankings. And if you want to be a guest, I'd love to have you on. Seriously, I want guests. Bring your knowledge, bring your expertise. I want to learn from you because I'm sure that you know more about insurance than I do, at least in some way, form, or another. There's something that I can learn from you, and I want you to bring that value to our show. So if you want to be a guest, go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest. And I think that's about it. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in today. Appreciate it. You all rock my socks. You have my heart. Have a night.
Have a nice day. Thank you for tuning in to the Insurance Bro Show. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you're an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com.